tonight's essays, all right? So please open that document as well so that you have that structure very handy. Okay, just a sec. Great, there we are. So I am sending to the WhatsApp group right now two different things. Let me please send them. Just a sec. All right, there. And now here. There you are. Okay, good. So where am I? Yeah. All right, so let us start and let me share my screen. Good. So dear students, you know that in order to practice for this task, we have to read and of course, listen to passage. First of all, a reading passage and then a lecture. And of course, we're going to do that right now. I'm going to let you have the first material for tonight's practices. So please, I'm going to send right now. Don't look at the links that I sent. I'm going to explain them later. But before we explain those links that I just sent to the WhatsApp group, let me please paste this to the WhatsApp group as well. This is the first reading passage for tonight's practices. And there you have it. Now I'm going to enable here on my screen the 3 minutes you have for writing this, as you know. Well, excuse me, for reading this reading passage, because as we have discussed previously, in this case, you don't have 45 seconds as before, given that the reading passage is way longer than the ones we had in the speaking section. ETS gives you 3 minutes in this case for you to complete the reading. So all of you, dear students, Roy and Abigail, please, you can start reading that passage now. Okay, very good. And now let us listen to a lecture on the same topic. let us remember, as we have said, that the lecture is going to present a contradictory perspective to the same subject. That is to say, although it will be discussing the same topic, it is going to offer a contradictory or opposite view. Okay, so please, having known that, please take your notes as you listen to this, and then we're going to start with the practice. Okay, you can start listening now.
Now listen to part of a lecture on the topic you just read about.
All right, so the essay that you all read last week, well, it's very likely that the author of that essay simply didn't like Stein's style. The reasons given in that text kind of, point to the author's biases. Take the issue of punctuation for one. Anybody who says the punctuation or the lack of punctuation in Stein's writing doesn't serve a purpose, they clearly haven't read her essay titled Poetry and Grammar. Stein viewed punctuation as a crutch, as a tool that was simply unnecessary. And so, well, relying on a tool like that encouraged authors to write weaker sentences. This is a unique perspective that's worth considering, not something we can simply write off. Second, the idea that Stein took Cubism and approach to writing, applied those concepts to her writing and that Cubism was somehow incompatible with language, that idea completely ignores the changes in poetry since Stein's day. There's been quite a lot of poetry that relies on the sounds of words and the images conjured by what seem like totally nonsensical phrases. Stein's work is of massive literary influence, as an early example of that. And as for Stein's relationships with other authors and artists, you only have to look at Hemingway's famous style to see a Stein's influence. The simple, common words, the repetition, a lot of what we think as Hemingway's came directly from Stein. She really changed the way people around her were working. It wasn't just a social connection.
Summarize the points made in the lecture you just heard, explaining how they cast doubt on points made in the reading.
Great. Very good. So we have finalized listening to this lecture, and now it's time for us to write our essays, as you know. Well, in order to do so, now, of course, these links that I sent some instance ago are useful. If you notice, these links that I sent to the WhatsApp group first are basically, are Google documents. They are Google documents. And if you open them, any of them, you're going to discover that in these documents, I've had some students of mine writing essays for me. And that is exactly what you're going to do. Okay, so please, I'm going to sort out right now these groups, and I'm going to assign to each of you one of these links. What you're going to do once you get into, as you can see here on my screen, is you're going to go to the last page. Okay, you're going to scroll down onto the last page, please. And then you're going to write down your name. Something like, I don't know, for example, this first link is going to be for, let's say, for Roy. Okay, so you write your name, Roy. And here, of course, you can, if you want, you can move this to a new page, right? Like that. And here you're going to write down your essay, right? The same for Abigail. So, dear Roy, the first link is going to be for you. The link that says first, dear Roy, is going to be for you. And dear Abigail, the second link, the one that says second group, is going to be yours, okay? So please, each of you, enter your link, your corresponding link, and you're going to be able to write down your essay here for me, and I'm going to be able to review it as you write it, of course, and after to make some commentaries and some revisions, okay? So, you know that you have 20 minutes in order to write down this essay, okay? So I'm gonna take your time here. I actually have the chronometer already prepared. And after you finalize, I'm going to be, of course, I'm going to be giving you some feedback, offering some commentaries on your writing, and of course, trying to improve altogether, right? The idea is, as I say, you have 20 minutes here on the clock in order to write down your essay. You know what to do. You have the template here in the WhatsApp group. You can paste, if you want, the structure into the document. And then, of course, you start writing from that, right? You don't have to write from scratch, but you can actually write, as I said, you can paste the structure on your document, and then you start writing from those sentences, right? It's totally fine. We are practicing. That's the idea. Okay, is that clear, dear Roy, Abigail, what we have to do tonight? Dear Roy, Abigail, questions?
It's clear, teacher.
Okay, thank you very much, Roy. What about you, Abigail? Are we fine? Any question?
We have to write below the essays.
Yes, exactly. Go to the last page, like this. For
Yeah.
example, this is your link, right? Oh, well, this is not. This one it is. Go to the last page and write down your name, and there you have the chance to write. Okay, dear Abigail?
Okay.
All right, fantastic. Very good. So I'm gonna have your time here. Okay, I'm going to be here on the room in just in case you, of course, need my help. And if you need my help for some sort of reason, please write down. Okay, instead of speaking through your microphone, write down to me through the chat box, or if you want, you can write down in the WhatsApp group. Just in case, of course, we don't perturbate or deconcentrate somebody else, right? So if from this point on you have some type of question, some type of consult, please write it to me, okay, so that I can help you. Great. So please, all of you dear students, you can start writing down your essays now. All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Roy and Abigail, for having finalized them. So your 20 minutes are over, as you can see, and it's time for me to review your essays, okay? Don't worry if you didn't manage to finalize the essay, it's totally fine. We are practicing, we're just starting to, of course, get this task. And of course, it's not very normal for us to write down in English in our normal lives. Therefore, it's something that, of course, you have to get used to. And that, trust me, with a lot of practice, is very attainable. When I started to practice for the TOEFL exam by myself, I was able to merely write 70 words in 20 minutes. And then with a lot of practice, like 400 to 350. So as I said, it's just a matter of practice. Trust me, if you practice constantly, you're gonna make it very easily, okay? Awesome, so let us start with you, Roy, sorry. And let's see what you managed to write, okay? So Roy, let us read your essay. It says, the reading extract leads off with the idea that your true aim and style of writing has a little influence in the way some authors do their art these days. Very good. Now, notice here, for example, you're using comma, right? And whenever you're about to start a new sentence, that should be a period, right? Because notice that nonetheless, given that this is a connector, it means that you're about to start a new sentence, right? So the way that you write connectors like this one, nonetheless, is always after a period, right? And before a comma. Remember that. It's always after a period, like this one, and before a comma, right? Every single time you want to use a connector like therefore, moreover, furthermore, likewise, I don't know, any type of connector, you're always going to use it that way, okay? Very good. Nonetheless, in the lecture, it is said that she has a significant influence on these authors. I am going to proceed to expose both views. Fantastic. I think that you completely grasped the idea of the introduction, a very superficial summary of the reading passage, combined with, of course, a contrast of the lecture, right? That is to say, a very similar as well summary, very superficial of the lecture. Fantastic, Roy. Here, little recommendation. When you write your introduction sentence, your transition for a sentence, as this one, better if you always finalize it with 2 points or a column. Why? Because, well, when you are using column, right, you're saying, okay, until this point, I am finalizing my introduction. And from here on, henceforth, I'm about to mention, of course, the body of my essay, right? Just a little tip. Great. Let us start with the body. Firstly, it says in the reading passage, it is said that the style of Gertrude can be compared with Cubism style. Then, okay, great. So notice, for example, here, then it is explained that Cubism style is about painting in a way that emphasizes visual representation without clear emotion or meaning. Okay. So, yeah, sorry. I think it's fun. I think this is correct. I mean, grammatically correct. Yes, the way you're using them in this opportunity. Now, here, for example, I could recommend you, it would be better if you write down shorter sentences. Because, for example, look at this. In this case, all of this would be one sentence, right? Because you are not ending your ideas with a period. So everything you wrote from here, from firstly until meaning, is just one sentence, but with a lot of commas. And I know that, of course, this is something very common in Spanish. In Spanish, we write very long sentences. And when we do this, we are rewarded because of this, given that we are demonstrating a very complex writing. Now, sadly, in English, it doesn't work that way. In English, it is way more, as I say, rewarded and accepted to write very short sentences. And it's better for you because writing short sentences is way easier. So, for example, here you could have stopped your sentence here with Cubism style. And here you could have started another one, like, I don't know, like afterwards, right? Afterwards, it is explained that Cubism style is about painting in a way that emphasizes, I like this use of quotation commas you're making, emphasized visual representation without clear emotion or meaning. Very good. This is very good. Then, by this expression, so notice, for example, this one, again, would be a very good time for you to make use of another sentence. By this expression, right, notice, by this expression, comma, the reading passage establishes, in this case, right, establishes that Gertrude's style does the same with her works, because in her writings, she did not clearly communicate emotions or meaning. Now, very good. Notice that given that I am separating your sentence, it is way easier to follow it. It's way clearer, right? There is a sense here of naturality. There is a sense of clearness because the sentence, given that it is well divided and it's not too long, it's very easy to follow because the ideas are basically thrown there on the table and you just go one by one, understanding every single time what you're trying to mean and express. Very good. So my last recommendation here, for example, because, whenever you're going to write down because, that is a very natural connector, right? The most natural connector. It is not necessary for you to use comma, okay? So whenever you're going to use because, that word because, it is not necessary for you to use comma because in this case, this word because, as I say, it's the most natural connector. Therefore, it doesn't need any type of comma intervention, okay? Fantastic anyways. In an opposite way, the lecturer says that this comparison is not correct because it is not accurate to compare a style of writing with a style of painting. Wonderful. As you can see, you are in this case contrasting, right? What you managed to grasp in the reading passage with what you managed to grasp in the listening passage, the lecture, with regard to the first point they made. Great, this is awesome. So it is a fantastic first paragraph. As I say, take into consideration those little details that I commented about, but the rest is wonderful. And as I say, don't worry that you didn't finish. We're going to practice more, and this is going to get way easier. Okay, excellent, Roy. Let's go with Abigail. Here we have your essay. Let us start with you. It says, the reading extra leads off with American literature when many influential writing authors appeared in the early 20th century, but the author employed Gertrude Stein has less influence. Okay, nonetheless, in the lecture, it is said that Gertrude Stein had a good influences. Fantastic, very good. As I say, the idea is to explain this with your own words in a very superficial manner, as Abigail did. And in this case, notice that Abigail is using very short sentences. Very good, Abigail. Here, my only recommendation would be a transition phrase, right? Like, I am going to, I don't know, I am going to proceed to expose both of these views, something like that, right? Sorry. And of course, always is finalizing with column, right? Or 2 points. Apart from that, fantastic. So it says, firstly, in the reading passage, it is clear that Stein's works tend, notice here will be 10, right? Because we are talking works. So those works tend to be more inaccessible, okay, for the readers. Okay, notice here, for example, because, right? It's not necessary to write down a comma before because her writing lacked emotions and thoughts. Very good. It's a very superficial but effective summary. Very good. That is the idea. Nevertheless, in the listening presentation, it is noted that the author, Gertrude Stein, simplified her thoughts using easy structures. Awesome. Very good. Notice, for example, in this case, Abigail is using very short sentences that are super concise. And by doing so, she manages to attain a lot of clearness in her essay. And it's easy to follow. Very good, Abigail. It's great. Then second paragraph. Secondly, in the reading excerpt, it is pointed out that Stein's works rarely includes, okay, again here, include, right? Because we're talking about work. Oh, no, in this case, we're talking about work. Okay. Stein's work rarely includes the conventional punctuation in order to make her poetry difficult to decipher. Awesome. The listening passage notwithstanding. Okay, great. And you didn't finish. Well, great, dear Abigail. I think it is a wonderful essay. Very good introduction. Great first paragraph. And as I say, the rest is going to come very naturally to finalize the essay. It is very good until this point. Okay, very good, Abigail. Fantastic. Now I'm going to call back your classmate Mariana, who is in a separate room. I'm going to call her back, and she's going to come and we're going to review her essay as well, okay, to see what she managed to write, because she was writing. Okay, but I see that she has not been writing. What a weird thing. Okay, anyways, she's going to help us to, okay, so we're going to read right now, and we're going to listen to a new passage, okay? And you're going to be writing this essay with me, okay? So let's go to a new passage. Let's keep this. Okay. Next. Next. And here we are. Control Z. Okay. Here we have the next passage. Okay. Mariana is about to come back. Let us wait for her just for a second. Okay. All right, awesome. Great. So Mariana has come back. Fantastic. So welcome, Mariana. So I was looking at your document. Did you write your essay here, dear Mariana, or maybe you wrote it in other documents?
No, teacher, I have problem with my computer. No, I can
Okay.
enter.
All right. That's okay. It's okay, dear Mariana. Don't worry. You're gonna help us then in the next essay. Okay. So here I just pasted, dear Mariana, to the WhatsApp group. If you see the new reading passage we have to read for this new essay we're gonna write. So please, dear students, you have 3 minutes for reading this passage. Oh no, but instead of doing that, let us go directly to the lecture for us to have time to listen to this, and of course for you to write down your essays a little bit. And then, as I say, you're gonna have the chance to write the essay. And well, let us have the time, because what we are going to do is the following. You're gonna write this essay for me as homework. You're gonna have the entire weekend for writing this essay, and you're gonna have to write it just where I told you to write it. Or you can actually, no, we're gonna do it differently. Okay, give me a second until I think about that modality. Anyways, I just pasted the reading passage to the WhatsApp group. And what I want you to do right now is reading that passage, okay? So please, you have 3 minutes, dear students, Roy, Abigail, and Mariana, for reading this new passage that I just pasted about globalization in the WhatsApp group. So please, all of you start reading this passage now. Okay, very good. So now let us listen to the lecture, and then I'm going to explain to you how you're going to be able to send your essay about these materials to me, okay, for me to review it later. And before we do so, please let us listen to a new lecture on this topic, okay? Please take your notes, because this is going to be what you're going to use in order to write down this essay as homework, okay? So please let us start listening now.
Now listen to part of a lecture on the topic you just read about.
Globalization is a pretty hot topic, right? And for good reason. It's contentious, not the kind of thing everybody agrees about. It's hard to say that globalization is necessarily a good thing. There are a number of ills that have come hand in hand with the changes we've seen. First, I want to stress the danger of reliance on the global market. It may help keep competition healthy, sure, but when countries are so economically interconnected, crashes and recessions cause a wave of problems, and in more than just the country where it starts. Take the 2008 financial crisis, for instance, which was set off by problems in the U.S., but it spiraled out to a number of countries in Europe and elsewhere too. And of course, the second thing I should bring up is one you may have thought more about, something a little closer to home. When we send work offshore to other countries that can produce or just work for cheaper, then we no longer have those jobs in our own country. For example, most TVs sold in the U.S. used to be made here, but nowadays, well, we buy them all over from other countries. When the U.S. opened trade with Mexico, our TV manufacturers closed their U.S. plants and moved to Mexico, where they could find cheaper labor. What happened to the workers at those U.S. plants? Many had to be laid off. And finally, as for the environmental benefits, well, that's a bit suspect. After all, have we seen our environmental problems go away as the global economy has grown? Far from it. These countries that can manufacture cheaply and export goods, they create astronomical air pollution. Global trade encourages cheap production, and cheap production is often environmentally harmful.
Summarize the points made in the lecture you just heard, explaining how they cast doubt on points made in the reading.
There you are. Awesome. So let us go then. So dear students, now that you have read and listened to this lecture, you're able to write down this essay. And of course, because of time issues, we're not going to have time to write it tonight together. Nonetheless, as I said, you're going to have this as a little homework. And here, for example, to the WhatsApp group, I want you to see, I just sent my personal email, okay? So when you finalize writing this, please write it in a Microsoft document, that is to say a Word document. Write it there and please, as I say, take your own time, okay? I want to send you this chronometer, it's very good. Program yourself 20 minutes for writing this essay and take your time, okay? Don't write this essay in more than 20 minutes because if you practice without this time, you're going to get used to it. And on the exam, of course, nobody's going to give you more time, right? So please, as I say, write this essay in 20 minutes. There you have the chronometer. I just send that to you and also my personal email. You can send that there or you can send it to my WhatsApp group or excuse me, to the WhatsApp group or to my personal chat, as you prefer. You have many options, okay? But the idea is send that whenever you can, of course, before next time we see each other, that is next Tuesday, so that I can give you some feedback, some commentaries on that new essay. Okay, dear students, so that is going to be our little homework, as I say, write in our document an essay with a template about this globalization issue and send it to me through that link, or excuse me, through that Gmail that I just sent or to my personal chat, okay, as you prefer. Very good. Is there any question about this little homework? Dear students, Roy, Mariana, Abigail, questions about this?
No questions.
Okay, thank you, Roy.
When is the
Great.
deadline?
Let's say next Tuesday's morning, let's say, or next next Monday's night. But you can actually send it until next Tuesday's morning. But it will be better if you send it until this Monday's night, okay? But as I say, it's totally flexible. Anyways, I'm gonna give you a good commentary, okay? Awesome. Great, dear students. So we're gonna stop tonight's class here. Let me please stop sharing this. And I'm gonna take your assistance. So please, as I do that, help me with your kind responses to our daily poll, okay? I always appreciate that. And now, if you have any commentary or other question, please let me know. I'm going to be pleased to help you. Okay, where we are here. And here. Okay, so we had today Abigail Graciela.
Present.
Thank you very much, dear Abigail. We had Roy, Brian, David.
Present.
Thank you very much, Roy. And finally, we had Mariana Vaca.
Present.
Thank you very much, Mariana. There you are. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much, dear students, for your kind responses. As I say, I see you tomorrow. Not tomorrow, sorry. I am very much traumatized with saying I see you tomorrow. I see you next Tuesday. And as I told you, you have time for sending this essay to me until that Tuesday's morning. Or if you prefer, and it will be better, until Monday's night, okay? For me to give you a good review and feedback with more time, okay? But anyways, have a fantastic weekend. This is not going to take you more than 20 minutes, so you're going to be able to enjoy a lot. Have a fantastic weekend. See you very soon.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you,
weekend.
teacher.
Yeah.
Thank
See you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you.